Hey gang, Ikaika here at the Crawlspace Custom Shop. I'm going to be going over the basic assembly of the Game Changer 4.2 chassis. This is the stage 1 portion. You're going to be getting the chassis rails, servo winch mount, panhard, and rear brace, and some hardware. The tools I'm going to be using for assembly are going to be a pair of pliers. Also, if you got a pair of hemostats, it's really nice. A file, and a 2mm driver, and then some blue painter's tape. So let's go ahead and get set up. You'll see what the painter's tape here is in just a second. I'm going to rip off a few sections of this and lay it down, make sure it's ready for when I need that. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the panhard here. I'm going to take the file and gently cut away the notch where the panhard intersects with the chassis rail. The machining on this stuff is super tight, so getting this to fit in there, you want to just give it a little bit of file and it'll make it nice and easy. That's all the prep we need to do for the chassis itself. I'm going to get all my hardware here into my little dish. We're going to get started with the panhard. And this is where the blue tape comes in. We'll take a section of blue tape. I'm going to apply it here to the panhard, just right about there, because what that's going to do is make it easy to install the nylock nuts into the slot, and so they don't fall out or fall away. Okay, I'm going to take one of the chassis rails. This is going to be the driver's side. I'm going to click this guy in here, like so. And boom, there it is. Now the panhard is ready to be attached to the chassis rail. I'm going to take a 10mm, there we go. I'm going to take a 10mm button head screw. Using my thumb and index finger, I'm going to hold that nylock nut straight and square so there's no cross threading with the screw. Going to give it a crank. And there she is. Save that tape for later. And there we have the panhard mounted to the chassis rail. Nice and tight and secure. Next we're going to move on to the servo winch mount here. This is directional, so the front side going this way is going to be smaller than the section that is towards the back. That's going to be a little bit larger. I'm going to take the tape here. I'm going to apply it to this side, like so. Okay, now we're looking at the bottom half of it, and I'm going to get these nylock nuts in here. Make sure they're nice and square in the T-slot. I'm going to use these forceps. I prefer the forceps over the needle nose because it's a little bit more fine. And we're going to do one side at a time. You set up both sides if you want to, but depending on how many hands you got and how much time you got, we'll set it up like so. Okay, I'm getting lucky with these guys. They're dropping right into place, but pretty easy. There we go. And there you can see there, with the painter's tape, it's holding those nylock nuts in place. Okay, and then we're going to take this like so, and then this tab here will slot into the slot here on the chassis. Okay, I'll drop that down, get another 10mm button head, gonna hold that in place. Let's take it on home. I'm gonna leave that just tight enough, because as we coordinate both chassis rails onto the servo winch mount, we want to have a little bit of wiggle room. Okay, now we got that side done. Let's get the other side. Let's line up the screws in there. Just about there. That's nice and finger tight, if you will. Get the other piece here. Drive that in, make sure it's not cross threading. Cool. I'm going to take this piece here, I'm going to push it up. I'm going to push it forward just a skosh so it's nice and locked in and tight. And I'm going to crank all these bolts down. There we go. Okay, let's take the painter's tape off. Save those for later. And there we have the servo winch mount installed into the front of the Game Changer chassis. Now let's move to the back rear brace. There's going to be a small slot and a large slot here, and the rear brace corresponds with that. Again, we'll take the painter's tape. I'm going to put it on the bottom side so you guys can see what I'm working with here. Like so. And I'm lining that tape up with this edge right here. Okay? Since we were lucky on the first piece, we're going to do all of these at once. See how lucky I am. Okay, there's that. And then let's go ahead and get these nylock nuts in there, drop those in place. There's that guy. That guy. Make it a little easier for everyone to see, so I'll use my forceps here. Tape's going to hold those guys in place so we don't have to worry about them running around. Put the tabs into the slots. This is where it's going to start coming together. So I'm going to start on this side. Drop a 10mm screw in there. Hold it in place. Get my driver. And run that in there. Just tight enough. That feels good. Make sure it doesn't cross thread. That's the biggest thing with hardware, is you want to make sure it doesn't cross thread. The screw will gall out its threads, but the nylock nut will definitely stay solid. Okay, I'm going to make sure that the tabs line up, click into place, nice and solid. Let's go ahead and get, whoops, see that one jumped out there, so we're going to come back to that guy. Let's tighten this guy up. Make sure it's not cross-threading. So we're going to take this guy, push the nut, or push the screw out, like so. Let's drop that nut in there. There we go. Use my thumb and middle finger to hold that in place. Get nice and snug. That looks good. Feels good. Might taste good. Drive this guy into place here. Nice and snug. I'm going to push this whole rear brace back so it's nice and tight. Just feel that there. And let's tighten all these guys up. And there you have it. You will notice you will have some extra hardware left over from the bags. We've got our screw and nut for our panhard mount right there, so you don't need to go looking for any other screws, like so. And then we have some 8mm button head screws to screw down the servo and winch. And there you have it. Oh, let's get rid of the tape real quick so it looks pretty. And there we have it. Game Changer 4.2 Stage 1. Thanks for watching, guys. Please leave any comments, questions, comments, or concerns in the comment section. I'll address them as soon as possible. Aloha.